Meteorologist Tim Pandajis is in for Crystal this morning. Good morning, Tim.
Hey, good morning, Dana. You know, if you're just getting yourself together to get out the door for those Palm Sunday services, you'll step outside, you'll notice two things. It's a little bit warmer from when you went to bed. We're already at 70 degrees, but also it is very muggy. We have dew points in the upper 60s, almost matching the air temperature out there. And this is more in line with something we'd find in July rather than here in the middle of April. So that is going to help set the stage for us and our severe storm threat later tonight. We'll talk about that in much greater detail in just a little while. Temperature-wise out the door this morning, upper 60s to around 70, already matching, surpassing our average high for this time of the year. A mainly dry start, mainly, but not everywhere. Down into northeastern North Carolina and heading towards the Virginia state line is a little shower here. Heavier downpour moving over the Hosky area, moving towards Reynoldson in the next 20 minutes or so. But certainly much quieter picture than where we were yesterday at this time. The big show is off to our west here, and that is that cold front that brought a lot of severe weather to the deep south yesterday. That's headed in our direction, arriving here overnight tonight. That time frame 11 p.m. to 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. Storm Prediction Center already has us in a Tier 2 out of a 5-tier system for that threat for severe weather. Most likely going to see some gusty winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Here's how it shapes up on FUTURECAST. Again, daylight hours today, mainly cloudy, but I do expect some thin spots in there to give way to some partial sunshine. An isolated shower, warm, humid, and increasingly more windy. Those winds out of the south gusting up to 30 miles per hour. Along the I-95 corridor, as we get towards 9 o'clock, there's that front moving on through, moving through our direction from 11 p.m. through 5 o'clock in the morning, may impact your Monday morning commute before it pushes east and offshore. Drier, cooler, sunnier weather builds on in behind it. So 82 for today. We'll call it partly sunny because I think there'll be some thin spots, an isolated shower there. Windy, warm, and very humid for this time of the year. We'll talk more about that storm threat and how the rest of your work week looks like coming up in just a few minutes. This isn't your first go-round. Seeing the second, third, or even fourth round of some heavy rain and severe thunderstorm warnings coming on out. If you have the warnings up on your phone, I mean, it's probably just been going off. It's been hard to sleep tonight, so apologies on that. But there we go. Brand new tornado warning just popped up on this area. Gloucester Point, including it, White Marsh area along Route 17, and that is until 4 o'clock this morning. And that includes now the city of Newport News. You are under a tornado warning. So if you're tuned in right now and you're also in Gloucester, James City, Matthews, or York, once again, head back to that safe space. Turn your TV all the way up. We'll let you know when it passes on through. These are moving on through very, very fast. Evan, let's put a track on it there and where it's heading in the next half an hour or so. Obviously, Gloucester Point right in the center of this watch box, and that's going to be up for the next 45 minutes or so. Lee Hall along I-64 here, so Gloucester Point at 3:31, so you've got about 5-minute lead time for you there. Achilles at 3:34, and we're looking at Maris at 3:36 this morning, and Lackey. Rochambeau Village, the closest, seeing some issues there as that moves on through. In terms of velocities, we're looking at this as wind speeds, and when we see winds in different directions close by, this would probably be the biggest area of concern right now. Not impressive in and of itself, but again, this is probably just the beginning stages of it. We saw this already happen 3 or 4 times already this morning when we get some minor indications, and then it really starts to blossom and tighten on up. Why is that happening? Well, we have a lot of strong winds out ahead of this line, and that's already introducing that spin to the atmosphere. So it's much easier for these storms to kind of consolidate the rotations, and already starting to see that early radar indicated upper atmosphere spin or turn in the atmosphere. And there, that's an update, isn't that, Evan?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so it's showing it looking a little bit healthier there, really right over Lackey, heading towards Gloucester Point. So again, if you're in Gloucester Point, I want you to go to your safe spot right now, an area away from any windows, lowest level of your home. Bring your phone with you. Turn up the TV so you can hear us if you're watching 13 News Now right now, and we'll let you know when things pass on through. But looking threat here. So we're seeing these kind of pop up. It wasn't unexpected because guess what? This tornado watch box was put out at 7 o'clock yesterday morning. This general area was known to be an expected hot spot with the location of where the center of Florence is right now. So we're seeing these bands moving up and over, and that's already initiating some spin in the atmosphere. You know, the hurricane is a large circulation, so we're seeing little spin-ups on the periphery of the main circulation, which is the center of Florence. So we have some of these spinning on up. A lot of them have developed over, we saw one over the Albemarle Sound south of Edenton that has now moved over land and has actually survived, so there's plenty of energy here for it to maintain itself. Another winter storm of the season that's heading towards Hampton Roads as we speak. It's developed nicely off the southeast coastline. Clouds moving up out ahead of it from the south, lifting northwards, and also our temperatures for the first time since Saturday are actually above freezing. There's that storm system we're going to be watching. You see the clouds really starting to bubble up off the coastline here of Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. That's that coastal low that'll rapidly develop and intensify over the next 24 hours. In anticipation of this storm, we have winter storm watches, warnings all the way from the northern part of Maine south into Florida, the entire eastern seaboard. On top of that, we were just issued this morning blizzard warnings. You see that in the orange shading here. Northampton on the eastern shore of Virginia, Poquoson, Hampton, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Camden, and Currituck all under that. Now, that doesn't change the snow totals. In fact, that has nothing to do with how much snow we're going to see. It's the combination of the snow, the wind, and the visibility is dropping below a quarter mile for 3 hours or more. You can have a blizzard with just 2 inches of snow. On the contrary, with 2 feet of snow, you might not have a blizzard. You just need that wind. That's the all-determining factor there. Temperatures this morning, bone-chilling cold, ground frozen solid. Despite our temperatures recovering nicely out there, we're up above freezing in a lot of spots. It's not enough to thaw the ground out. So that leads me to my next thing that we're going to go through is the timing of this precipitation. It's going to arrive at a point where our temperatures are just a little bit above freezing at that point. So we'll likely start as some wintry mix and even some rain farther to the south and east and there. Frozen ground, liquid precipitation. They come in contact, you're going to have a sheet of ice under a lot of that snow that happens later on this evening because everybody changes over to snow as the storm intensifies off the coast of Virginia and North Carolina. It brings in colder air aloft, meaning it shuts down the wintry mix, changes it all to snow, which will be heavy at times, and it will accumulate fast. We're talking 1 to 2 inch snowfall rates per hour possible by later on this evening, especially the closer you get to the coastline. Come tomorrow morning, between 8 and 10 in the morning, we start to see the snow taper off from west to east. We are still going to have the winds to deal with. Wind chill values in the teens, blowing snow, reducing visibilities. Skies will clear out, and then the second phase of the storm, the bitter cold, begins to build on in. So how much snow are we talking about? 6 to 10 inches in the purple here. Outside of that, 3 to 6. And accounting for that wintry mix a little bit longer and some sleet, we're talking 3 to 6 down towards the Albemarle Sound, Elizabeth City area from there. But we could see some pretty significant totals in that purple. Locally, maybe a foot coming out of this by the time things wrap up.
And then the man of the hour, Tim Pandajis. What an event.
Yeah, seriously, guys, we can call this now a blizzard because we have had winds sustained of 35 miles per hour. We've had reduced visibility, and it's happened for over 3 hours. So all those blizzard warnings have verified. You know, it's really getting serious for those spots that lost power. There's about, what, 20,000 now in the dark? 25,000 people in the dark that lost the power thanks to the strong winds. So we are streaming this right now live on our website and on Facebook. So if you can't join us on TV, there are several other avenues that you can do so. So that's some good news there to stay up to date on what's happening here. We have several more hours of moderate to heavy snow to go as the storm itself still strengthening. It's just off the coast of Hatteras, North Carolina, and it will be traveling off to the north. I mean, you just have to step back sometimes and admire the beauty of Mother Nature. Look at how textbook this nor'easter is, that classic calm ahead as it pulls off to the north and east, bringing a lot of moisture up and over Hampton Roads and through much of the mid-Atlantic. Winter storm warnings are up in all of the areas in pink, close to the coastline where you get the stronger winds. That's going to pick up that snow and reduce visibilities, which is why we have that blizzard warning out there that has verified in a lot of spots.
So it's an 8-hour and 54-minute drive to Atlanta right now.
Okay.
Leave now.
No traffic.
By 2 p.m.
What a time to be alive. They offer this. Oh, my goodness.
But for real, that's kind of cool, though, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, you're being serious?
Yeah, and then you could actually cook it so your whole house will smell like a Chick-fil-A, which is even better.
That is even better.
You know?
2 birds, 1 stone.
Now I'm hungry.
If only they would come out with a Yankee Candle scented Chick-fil-A, I'd be done.
Stop it. You're doing too much. It's only 5 o'clock, man. Don't do that.
Okay. I'll hold off till 6? All right, guys, let's talk about these rainfall totals. So I like to pull out this graphic every now and again to kind of give you a perspective on just how much rain has fallen out of the sky. So let's round it out to, say, 3 inches, all right? And that's on the low end of things. Over 1 acre of land, that equates to over 81,000 gallons of water. Now you go to the bigger picture. The city of Norfolk consists of over 61,000 acres. That's just over 5 billion gallons of rainwater that have come out of the sky. Another perspective on it, think of an Olympic-sized swimming pool, 660,000 gallons. That's about enough to fill, carry the 105, about 760 Olympic-sized swimming pools. A lot of rain. We could double those totals before the week is out, by the way. Hey, you'd think it was the peak of hurricane season or something like that. In fact, today is the climatological peak, and we have 5 systems out there to talk about, 3 of which have names. 2 are investigative areas. One that's going to be heading into the Gulf of Mexico that could very well become our next tropical depression. Of course, Hurricane Florence, Isaac, and Helene, and then another invest that's heading into the North Atlantic. That is nothing to worry about. Now, as of the current time, governors of the states of Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina have all declared states of emergency, locally as well. Currituck in North Carolina, as well as mandatory evacuations already being ordered down through the Outer Banks. Also, the U.S. Navy in the process of moving ships out from base, out from port, to the open oceans. They can actually weather it better than being in port there. So 3 states already allocating resources to deal with whatever wrath Florence will bring. Latest update, as I mentioned, 130-mile-per-hour winds. That puts it just at Category 4 status. 129 and greater is Category 4. In fact, here's the SAFFIR-SIMPSON scale that we use to judge the strength of storms. So Category 4 at 130. It has some strengthening to go before it could come close to becoming a Category 5 storm with 157-mile-per-hour winds or greater. The storm looks great, very healthy. You can see the outflow spirals. The storm is breathing well. Inflow at the surface, outflow up aloft, and this is just going to continue to intensify. It's starting to resemble that buzzsaw look that we've seen with so many storms, especially last year that got to major hurricane status. So overall, though, I want to show you here on satellite imagery and put the drawing tool on it. It's overall a pretty small hurricane, its size. The average size of a hurricane is 350 to 400 miles in diameter. We're looking at 270 miles here, but that likely won't last. As it starts to gain latitude, we'll likely see that storm expand a little bit and be a larger storm by the time it makes landfall, possibly along the southeast coast. A lot of assets being allocated to studying the storm, getting out ahead of it.